I've spent the last 30 years as a professional singer and vocal producer, working on hit TV shows like Glee, American Idol, and countless film and record projects. This is one of my favorite subjects, how your personality shapes your voice. In this video, I'm going to show you how your temperament, your natural wiring, impacts the way you sing, how you take direction, and how you show up in the studio. By the end of this video, you'll know which of the 4 singer personalities you are and how to use that self-awareness to reach your full potential. I've worked with hundreds of singers, from pop stars to film and TV vocalists, and I can tell you, your voice doesn't just make sound, it can reveal who you really are. The way you approach a vocal session, how you respond to direction, and how you handle pressure, it all reflects how you're wired in your temperament. There are lots of personality models out there, but for simplicity, I'm going to focus on one that's been around for a long time. It's one of the oldest personality frameworks in history, the 4 temperaments. It goes all the way back to ancient Greece, Hippocrates and Galen, who noticed that people tend to fall into 4 main personality styles: sanguine, choleric, phlegmatic, and melancholy. Over time, this model evolved, and modern systems like Myers-Briggs, DISC, and the Enneagram all drew from it in one way or another. Here's a quick overview. Sanguine, the charmer, extroverted, relational, expressive, fun, and full of life. They bring energy to any room, but they can struggle with consistency. Choleric, the powerhouse, extroverted but not necessarily relational, confident, driven, and strong-willed. They're natural leaders but can be controlling or impatient. The phlegmatic, they're peacemakers, calm, kind, and loyal. They keep the peace and hold things together, but sometimes they play too small. The melancholy, the perfectionist, detail-oriented, thoughtful, and deeply artistic. They're dependable, but often get stuck in self-criticism. I consider myself a student of personality, and I love to see how people operate in life. What's been fascinating to me is that all of these personalities show up in the studio, too. The way you take direction, handle pressure, approach creativity, interact with others, and even the way you sing is shaped by your temperament. So as we go through each type, pay attention to the one that feels most like you, because when you understand your personality, you'll become more self-aware, and that awareness will elevate your strengths and expose your weaknesses that might be holding you back. Let's break them down and see if you can figure out which one you are. The sanguine singer. The charmer. The sanguine is pure charisma. They light up the room the moment they walk in. They're extroverted, warm, and relational. They have an incredible ability to gain trust quickly through their charm. But here's the downside. Sanguines are often scattered, inconsistent, and usually late. They can be sloppy and unaware of their need for precision. They're the person who enters the room mouth first, not thinking before they speak. And it's the same when they sing. They'll always go for it, take risks, improvise, and bring energy, but most often what comes flying out of their mouth is sloppy, out of tune, or unrefined. Sometimes it's a throw it against the wall and see if it sticks approach. They can tend to assume that they're the most wanted singer in the room, and they'll often position themselves in the center of the mic before being asked to do so. Sanguines are awesome to have on a session because they bring energy and fun to the room, but if they're not aware of their weaknesses, they can also be a huge liability. So their strengths, they're joy bringers. They're always positive. Their weaknesses, they're scattered. They're messy. They talk too much in between takes. They always have the jokes. If you're a sanguine, consider coming in quietly and taking opportunity to learn from those around you. At your best, you'll bring joy to a session. Combined with discipline and excellence, everyone will want you on their session. The choleric, the powerhouse. Now let's talk about the choleric. Choleric singers are driven, calculated, confident. They're extroverted, but not necessarily relational. They walk into any situation with confidence. They appear to always know what to do, and they usually do it well. Cholerics are natural leaders. They often take the lead horse role in a group. They're vocally solid and self-aware, but they're critical of others and not afraid to say the truth that others won't. They're also not afraid to take the lead role because deep down, they know they're the best, and many times they are. But that confidence can become a stumbling block. When a choleric is unhealthy, they're actually the most insecure of all personalities, but they instinctively try to cover it up by becoming dominant. They can be bossy, hard to be around, and resistant to correction. So the strengths of a choleric are their natural leaders. They're commanding, focused, and reliable. But their weaknesses, they can be controlling, defensive, hard to work with, prideful. If you're a choleric, seek to become emotionally healthy. At your best, you will be one of the greatest assets in the room as a leader. At your worst, you could bring destruction. The phlegmatic singer, the peacemaker. Phlegmatics hate conflict. Their number one goal in life is to blend in and not make waves. They're typically introverted, they're kind and loyal, and they'll do anything to avoid drawing attention to their weaknesses. You'll almost never hear a phlegmatic singer make a mistake because they're careful not to take risks. If they're struggling, they'll pretend that they're fine, just to avoid any negative reaction. Phlegmatics bring a stability to the room. They're always agreeable, steady, and pleasant to have around. But the phlegmatic will rarely take initiative. You can actually lose them completely in a group blend because they don't want to stick out. As a vocal contractor, this has been a problem because when I hire groups of singers for projects, I can almost never hire as many singers as I really want to. I produce sessions with 9 singers who need to sound like 100, so I need everyone to show up and sing. When a phlegmatic plays it safe, I have to encourage them to stop hiding and start contributing, because if they don't, I probably won't be able to call them again. Sometimes they just need permission. Strengths of a phlegmatic: they're loyal, consistent, dependable. Weaknesses: they're fearful, passive, sometimes invisible. If you're a phlegmatic, seek ways to start taking risks. The truth is, the world needs your voice, so take this as an invitation to show up with everything you are. No more hiding. The melancholy. The melancholy singer. The most detailed, precise, and self-critical of them all. Melancholies are introverts who care deeply about doing things right. They're usually the most consistent and conscientious singers in the group, but they can also be their own worst enemy. When a melancholy singer makes a mistake, they can spiral. They can get stuck in their head, replaying that moment over and over, and can quickly become paralyzed. The strengths of a melancholy is that they're accurate, dependable, and detailed. Their weaknesses: they're fearful. They're overly critical of themselves and can get paralyzed by their mistakes. If you're a melancholy singer, be kind to yourself. Give yourself permission to be human, to make mistakes, and to keep going. In my experience, some of my favorite singers are melancholy. I can think of a list of my favorites, and most of them are melancholies because they care so much about excellence and are so self-aware. It's a gift for a vocal producer. Understanding your personality type as a singer is powerful because your voice isn't just a sound, it's a mirror of your inner world. The more self-aware you are, the more effective you'll be in any professional setting, studio, tour, or stage. You'll understand how to show up, how to react to stress, and how to partner from others who are different from you. When a sanguine learns to focus, a choleric learns empathy, a phlegmatic learns courage, and a melancholy learns freedom, that's when magic can happen. Of course, this happens more easily when singers have sung together for a long time. You become like a family, and that creates safety. That was definitely the case when I worked on Glee. Every temperament on the spectrum was represented, but we were together so much we grew to love each other, warts and all. And that safety naturally refined our weaknesses. When that happens, there's unity in the room, and when there's unity, vocal magic really does happen. So, which temperament do you think you are? Most people are a combination of two, one being dominant and the other secondary. I put together a quick singer personality test that you can take to find out. It'll show you not only which type you lean toward, but how to strengthen your weaker sides and become the most effective version of yourself. You'll finally understand how to use your voice to its fullest potential.